You want to give a quick lead in?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Monday night team call. We are, October 10th, 2016, and we're going to talk to you guys about PB Assist tonight, PB Assist Junior, and then we're going to lead right into our business training of talking about how to enroll your first person and set up your online store. So I'm going to hand it over to Frank, who's going to talk to you guys about PB Assist.
Oh, so you want to be front and center? Okay. Well then,
Here.
no, that's okay. Can everybody wave at me or put a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? All right, very good. All right, so who has actually tried either or has this product in their protocol or this product? Okay, very good. Has everybody eaten all of their children's PB Assist and like had to order a brand new box?
That's
that
our
way,
second box.
Yeah, okay, so order, yeah, because that's what we've done. We pretty much have eaten all the official way of pronouncing this is sachet. So, but we just
sachets.
We say sachets or satchels or something like that. But anyway, let's talk probiotics, okay? So probiotics, if you're not familiar with gut health and how important it is to overall health, let's just kind of delve a little bit into gut health itself, okay? So we can talk gut health in the sense of, what exactly it provides. So let's talk a little bit of anatomy and physiology of the gut, okay? So we all should know that we have two different types of bowels. We have the small bowel and the large bowel. If you were to take your small bowel and kind of literally stretch it out from end to end, they'll say, some folks will say, I've heard some places say, around 50 meters of small bowel. I've heard some places say, you've got a mile of small bowel. Let's just say that there is quite a bit of surface area for the small bowel itself, okay? And that is where digestion occurs, all right? We actually, our stomach, which we refer to as where our tummy, if you will, that's where the digestion happens. The actual process of digestion, which is where your body extracts the nutrients from the foods that you eat, that actually happens inside of the small bowels. There are three sections of the small bowel. The first section is about 10 centimeters long. That's known as the duodenum. And then it moves into the jejunum and then finally the ileum. From the ileum is where it makes its little junction up with the large intestine. And it actually works like up the right side of your body, across toward the left side of your body, and then down the left side of your body. And then, that's where we ultimately end up going to the bathroom. So there is a lot of space, is really what I'm getting at, where we need essential good bacteria in there because especially in the large bowel, there is a huge section of area that gets your food gets worked over one more time and you actually create vitamin K. And so if we don't have these gut bacteria, we are not going to be producing something that is actually as important as vitamin K. Vitamin K is responsible for clotting factors, okay? It's one of those things that we start creating about a couple of days, usually takes about a week after a baby is born to start really producing vitamin K because those bacteria from mom's milk and stuff like that have to start what we call proliferating inside of the gut in order to be able to help baby digest the food. And by digesting that food, it gives off vitamin K, which is then absorbed back into our bodies. And then, like I said, it's used for the clotting of our blood when we have an injury. And so it's extremely important to have the right type of bacteria in our gut. And so, we have known in the past, I'd say 5 to 10 years, there's been a ton of research done on the effectiveness of utilizing probiotics in our diet. So one of the first things that I used to tell people as a physician assistant is that if anybody goes on to antibiotics to cover themselves for a certain treatment for a certain type of infection, the very first thing that they should do is go ahead and start consuming some form of probiotics after their antibiotic therapy is completed. The reason why is because antibiotics, they can be specialized for certain types of bacteria, but a lot of like your penicillins and stuff like that are considered what they call broad spectrum. So they will literally kill both the bad and the good bacteria. And so, when it comes to restoring the way that your gut gut should be working, probiotics can be effective for helping to maintain the appropriate optimal health of your gut after you take a trial of antibiotics or something like that. Because antibiotics, as we all know, they have a place in medicine. I'm so glad that they're here because they have been able to be very effective of being able to manage a lot of conditions that would otherwise continue to be as rampant as they are. So, there's absolutely there's absolutely no reason why I feel as probiotics are actually safe. Probiotics can actually be started. What I would always recommend is like finish out your antibiotics, because if you're going to take the probiotics, what's the point? Because the antibiotics may knock out those bacteria as well that you're trying to consume while you're taking your antibiotic, while you're taking and finishing the rest of your antibiotics. So that was hopefully answering your question there, Catherine. So it was just kind of like, finish one, start another. So, but that's sort of the long short. That's sort of the medical practicality of probiotics in the sense of timing, or I should say with antibiotics. But let's talk more about probiotics. So probiotics, going back to the anatomy of the gut, there are literally hundreds of these little sacs, if you will. They're referred to as Peyer's patches. Peyer's patches were the surgeon who ended up, or the physician who ended up actually locating these little patches. They run all throughout the entire gastrointestinal system of the small bowel especially. And what they do is their job is to actually trap and allow the body's immune system to attack things right there locally during the process of digestion. And so these Peyer's patches are extremely effective at being able to remove some of the unwanted things that your body sees as threats during the process of digestion. And so it's super important to also consider helping to support these Peyer's patches. So we want them to not have to work as hard because, like I said, proper immune health does in fact start from the gut. And so there is this constant battle, if you will. I like to think of it as like two different sides of a scale. And you've got both bad bacteria on one side and good bacteria on another. And so as long as they remain in somewhat of a balance, we usually won't see conditions pop up. It's when we have an outweighing of one versus the other is when we start seeing conditions pop up. And so once we start seeing a dropping of our good bacteria, the bad bacteria have an opportunity to what we call set up shop. And that's when we start seeing certain conditions. Whereas if we make sure that we maintain good bacteria in the gastrointestinal system, then it'll help keep that bad bacteria in check, if you will. And you'll normally start seeing that your body will be able to regulate at a homeostatic, leveling out, and you won't see both good nor bad. You'll have just regular health that you should have in your gut. And so that is one of the largest reasons why among anybody would recommend consideration of daily probiotics, is because we want to make sure that there's enough of the good around in order to keep the other in check. That way we can make sure that we can maintain optimal health. And so one of the most amazing things that I have actually seen is great question, by the way, Elizabeth. I got Jackie pulled up the chat, but more of the good isn't always a good thing, right? Because we want to maintain a steady state of bacteria inside of our body in order to make sure that neither proliferates. Because there are actually a couple of conditions when it comes to the urogenital tract in a female that can actually cause a swaying of the pH, and it causes one condition when it sways one way, and it causes another condition when it sways the other way. So the important thing is to have a harmonious balance that your body can perceive. Obviously, we can't, and we want to make sure that we keep those kind of even keel. We want to obviously try to reduce bad bacteria as best as we can, but let's face it, we don't know the loads that we consume when we actually eat something. We probably have all eaten something that we thought we probably shouldn't have. Maybe we've eaten something that, is close to an expiration date. Maybe we've been out and about and eaten some things that we wouldn't normally eat. So it's important to make sure that we keep things in harmony and that we keep those bad bacteria completely in check with that good bacteria. So, having a lot of good bacteria around isn't always a great thing, but I could definitely see it would, of course, be more beneficial than having a lot of bad bacteria around, right? So getting back to like one other particular thing that I was seeing when I actually did some little bit more research about probiotics was, it's pretty amazing that probiotics can actually help out women and actually their vaginal and urogenital health. There are some conditions that are related to when those things get out of whack. And actually, the most predominant kind of like, I guess it's like mainly more well-known of the types of species of probiotics, which is known as lactobacilli. Those are actually, too acidic. Like they actually create like an acidic environment, which is actually not a bad thing. But, sometimes that acidity gets thrown out of whack with certain things like birth control pills and, when a lady's on antibiotics and stuff like that. So it's been seen in studies to promote effective urogenital and vaginal health actually when a lady is, utilizing probiotics in a regular nature. And so that was something that I thought would be interesting because you'd be thinking like probiotics only gut health, but obviously it affects other systems as well. And so that's sort of like the overarching things that I wanted to discuss when it came to the utilization of probiotics. And so how can we actually, get a good probiotic? Well, there's lots and lots of probiotics out there, okay? And, you can get them from your food. That's absolutely completely fine. There are lots of cultured yogurts, stuff like kefir and kombucha and a lot of your fermented foods. Those are all chock full of probiotics, and those are fantastically great foods to eat. I used to eat kimchi when I was in Korea constantly. Now, granted, I didn't know about probiotics, over a decade ago as I do now, but, knowing what I knew, thankfully, I was able to eat a lot of fermented foods, and I often didn't feel certain things like indigestion or gastrointestinal distress because of the fact that, I was eating those fermented foods. Hindsight being 2020, I didn't know that, but I just knew that kimchi helped me actually digest other foods better. So it was actually the probiotics that are inside of those fermented foods. So PB Assist, we'll start off with PB Assist. Just to talk to you about some of the specifics, like I said, there's lots and lots of probiotic supplements out there. But what you're looking for is you want something that has a good amount of CFUs. Okay, so the CFUs are known as colony forming units. Those are CFUs. It's like one of those things that I've seen something that's like, we have 100 million CFUs. I've seen ones that we have 6,000 billion million CFUs. The important fact is that we want to be getting enough CFUs to make sure that we're correspondingly getting the appropriate amount of probiotic into our gut that we can actually, our body can actually utilize for its purpose. And so that amount that is in PB Assist, for example, is 6 billion CFUs. And so, what's kind of interesting is that actually it starts off with probably more, because we'll talk about PB Assist, and PB Assist, actually they start off with like, I think 9 or 10 billion. But what ends up happening is that, of course, some of those can pass due to shipping and being packaged and all that kind of stuff. And so they end up, not making it. And so I believe that there are 5 billion CFUs, during the life up through the expiration date of the PB Assist Junior. And so, so 6 billion CFUs are delivered. And what's really cool about it, and Jackie will hold it up, is that the other thing that you want to look for with a probiotic is usually a double coating, right? So PB Assist has a double coating. It's that kind of like clear, see-through coating that is called enteric coated. That is so that the green stuff inside which we'll talk about in just a couple of seconds, can actually make it through the harsh environment of the stomach, which is a low pH. It's made of hydrochloric acid. There we go. It's made of that, and so that's designed specifically to help try to rid the body of bad bacteria before it even gets close to being digested. And so we want to make sure that it can get through that harsh environment of the stomach into the small intestine. And so once you get through that harsh environment, then we want to make sure that the probiotics themselves are delivered in a very efficient way. And what's pretty nifty about these ones that doTERRA has created is that that green substance that you see around the capsule is actually chlorophyll. So the probiotics are encapsulated right there in that green capsule, and then actually that entire capsule is made of what we call prebiotics, or stuff that will help the probiotic itself, or the actual bacteria, proliferate or grow. And so you got to give it a food source, and so why not? Let's go ahead and give it its own localized food source to be able to start proliferating the way we want to. So therefore, then we can repopulate or populate or continue to stay populated our gut with the appropriate good bacteria that we need. There are, I want to say, so there's 6 strains of probiotics here in the PB Assist. And then, of course, there's the FOS short-chain prebiotic as well. So I just wanted to make sure that I double-checked. Okay, so what else to say about PB Assist? Oh, okay, so the way that it's utilized, or the way that it's recommended, is to take 1 capsule 3 times a day. Okay, if that's too much for you, which is entirely fine, because there are 30 capsules in it, so it'd be enough for like 10 days. You know, if you want to make it a 1-a-day thing to start off with, totally understandable, okay? Going from, none to, essentially 18 billion CFUs in a 24-hour period, you can maybe see like a stark change. And so, you can take up to 3, but, anywhere between 1 and 3 is what's directed on the bottle.
And it's actually part of the Customize and Save. So if you do order the Daily Nutrient Pack or the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you can add this for only, I believe it's only $20. Can somebody just confirm that for me? I believe it's only 20. Yeah, okay, Cindy. Yep, so you can add this for only $20, which is a wonderful deal for high quality probiotics.
One other thing that I want to make sure that I make mention of probiotics is that, we travel with a kit, and when you start doing doTERRA, like more and more full-time, if you will, it's very important, or if you just travel with your current job or whatever, or you're going on vacation, make sure you bring probiotics, because it's a really great, like, defensive ability, to help ward off any environmental, if you will, threats in terms of, making sure that you have the appropriate amount of gut bacteria around to help support your immune system the best that you possibly can. So this is one of those I don't leave home without it type of ones, Everybody usually travels with their LLV, and everybody will travel with their DDR Prime, which of course I will not travel with those as well. But I make sure that PB Assist is of course included in that protocol, because when you're traveling, you might get yourself into some cuisine that doesn't agree with you, and it's very important to make sure that you take probiotics to help support your gut health. Okay, all right. So moving on. Did you have anything else you want to say about that? So moving on, we will move on to PB Assist Junior, and then we'll wrap things up, okay? So PB Assist Junior is new from convention, and you get 30, we call them sachets, right? Sachets, because it's technically a sachet, but it's a sachet, right? And so the kids absolutely devour these things amongst the adults. This is almost like the fun dip of probiotics. Okay, it actually is. It's sweetened with xylitol. It's got a sweet taste to it. It's like the strawberry melon flavor. You just literally have to rip it open, and the kids can just take it directly from the little sachet, because actually, you can add it to stuff, but the only thing that it recommends is just keep it away from hot water. So that technically could damage the bacteria. So that's the reason why we want to do that. And it also can help melt off the coat, which, let's talk about the coat. That was a good segue to talk about this coat. So there, once again, are 6 different types of strains of bacteria in that as well. And then there's that FOS prebiotic, and the super long name is fructo something something biotic, right? But anyway, so the PB Assist is really great because the technology is pretty cool. So it's enteric coating. It comes in like a bunch of little beadlets. Matter of fact, we spilled them on the ground and it actually feels like sand underneath your feet when you actually walk on it. And so that technology is what? Yeah, I would. Yeah, totally. You should always refrigerate probiotics. Why not? You know what I mean? That just helps keep the activity of it, to the point where it actually can't. But I don't know if actually on the bottle we do.
We do.
But I don't know.
When we travel, we don't refrigerate it, obviously. But when we're home, we keep it in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And I do try to remember to put these in the refrigerator too. But sometimes I do forget.
So it says cool, dry place, which, honestly, knowing that it's the fall and stuff like that. We try to, whatever. So anyway, great point, by the way, Kim. Thank you.
Yes.
If anybody can see in the chat, Kim just came up with a really fantastic, good safety thing for everybody to see.
And if you're calling in, xylitol is not, dogs should not have xylitol, so they cannot take this probiotic. If you do need to give your dog a probiotic, I recommend the capsule. Stick it in some peanut butter or a hot dog, which is kind of what we do, and give it to them that way.
So the technology, by the way, so we'll wrap things up. The technology, by the way, is pretty impressive for the PB Assist Junior. It actually is, inside of it, it's got the same sort of, it's got the same probiotics, and then it's actually encapsulated in a very small way with this kind of cool technology that sort of adheres this enteric coating around it. And so it's pretty impressive that these little micro beadlets, if you will, like these things actually have the same enteric coating as really a large PB Assist. It's really awesome. So it's a very unique, very cool delivery system, and it still should, in theory, and it does, get through the actual harsh environment of the tummy, and then it actually will make its way into your kiddo's gut as well. So I'm super excited about this one because, I felt like this would be too much for the children of my age. So it was really nice that they came out with this product, because super easy to take. Don't have to worry about swallowing like a horse pill. And on top of that, you're still getting same great bacteria. So, we challenge you, consider, probiotics. I'm telling you, you're going to be taking a really good step toward overall health. And if anybody has any questions, I'll stick around for a minute or two before we turn things over to Jackie. Hope you enjoyed it.
You can unmute yourself, or you can type your question in the chat, and I'll just give you guys a few seconds to do that.
Hey, Frank, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How would you present this briefly to someone who's not familiar with probiotics, why they need it, and why they would use this probiotic versus another one?
Yeah, so great question. So, I know that normally you have a minute or two to try to explain it to somebody. So this is this is probably one of those products that I would not keep at an Essential Oil 101 class. This is one of those ones that I would actually go ahead and table this for like a membership overview style of meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like where you would actually be sitting down talking to them about the wellness pyramid. All right. And that's where I would introduce any supplements. Okay. Unless of course they end up getting the Natural Solutions kit or above, and then you're going to be talking to them about it when you talk to them about their kit anyway. But long story short, to answer your question, I start with the wellness pyramid, and I look at diet and exercise, and I try to give a brief little snapshot, because usually you have what we call a nice confined audience, if you will. And so that's when I'll introduce like what probiotics are. Like I'll talk really quick about gut health and everything like that. And then I actually talk about the two products. If it's them consideration for an adult, or if it's a consideration for kids, or both. That's the time that I would actually do it. There's so much information in like just an introductory class, you'll absolutely overwhelm them. As you can see, I didn't mean to, but I talked for 20 minutes alone on probiotics. So that would leave me with like maybe 25 minutes to literally go over some peppermint, why DoTERRA, and then, like talk about the kits. So I absolutely would not consider talking about a lot of supplementation at your essential oil one-on-one classes. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? I think, if I'm not mistaken, Diane had a good question about, like, having difficulty swallowing pills. I think that they said that a sachet can also be consumed by an adult.
They did.
So
Absolutely.
you can actually take it, and it'll still have enough cultures to be effective for an adult as well. You know what I mean? Aubrey goes, if I was having a membership over with you, I'd be broke.
I'm really excited about the new family wellness kit that includes the PB Assist Junior. So if you guys haven't seen the new enrollment kits, the PB Assist Junior is included in the family wellness. And then in the natural solutions kit, they added PB Assist for adults. So in your classes, you probably will be, if you talk about the natural solutions kit like I do, you probably will be mentioning that, our gut is really important. 80% of our health originates in our gut. And that's why probiotics, Terrazyme, are so important. So I would definitely make sure that you do mention that in your class, but not go in depth, like Frank said. So.
Yeah. It's a different talk for a different time. And plus, we're not speaking about, I can speak from this on two different sides. Let's talk business side and then the health side. Well, health side is obviously what we should go for first, which is, let's talk about like the different type of supplementation that you should consider with appropriate diet and exercise. And then on top of that, folks, this is what makes people get on LRP, because, the supplements are the key to LRP. We should tell the old starfish guy that I want to be quoted on that. So supplements are the key to LRP, because those are the ones that you actually consume. I can make a bottle of On Guard last an eternity. Mm-hmm. But if I'm taking my probiotics the way that, I have recommended to myself, then I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to consume that in a 30-day period. So think about it that way. You know what I mean? We obviously want to help people out, so don't make it salesy and pitchy and all that stuff. But realize that there is a good reason for both, to actually discuss supplementation with folks. So because we want to obviously help them address their health concerns, but it helps out a lot.
Good. Gluten and soy free, yes, they are. So I don't see any other questions. So we're going to move right into our business building training.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Frank. It's good to have him around, isn't it? I don't have to do all the research and study and all this stuff. He can just go ahead and do it for me.
But hey, as a caveat, I don't do any more crazy research than anybody else. Okay?
I know.
I really don't. Honestly, I use the same tools. I try to make sure that I use the same tools that are available at your fingertips as well. So I'll say it now and I'll say it again. You'll probably hear me say it a bunch more times. Those PDFs for doTERRA are fantastic. And then just do simple Google searches and make sure that the information that you find, it doesn't have to be study oriented. It could be like something from like a medical school or whatever, about a certain type of supplementation. And then by all means, check out doTERRA Science blog. That will absolutely help fill in the gaps about any of those things, so you can help be more confident about what you talk about. So.
All right, I'm going to move into telling you guys how to set up your online store so that you can enroll your first person. So if you are on the call and you want to stick around and stay for learning about this, I'm going to show you guys how to actually go into your back office and set up your online store. I'm also going to show you how to cut your link in half, so that if you want to make a pretty link, I'm going to show you how to do that, so you can send a pretty link to people instead of a really long link. And then I'm going to also kind of go over some of the stuff that's in the class in a box, because I've got that in front of me, and I just think it's an awesome tool for getting started as well. So if you do enroll your first person, I do suggest getting the class in a box. It's $25 from your back office, which is a steal, especially because you get 10 5-milliliter bottles of wild orange. And so these are awesome to give to people who host a class. These are great to give to people who show up to a class. However you want to use these wild orange. I actually purchased the class in a box just to get my wild orange, but I do use a lot of the tools that come in the class in a box. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and show you how to set up your back office. So when you log into your back office, you're going to come over here on the right and click on My Website. And what this does, it's going to take you to where you can actually set up your business site website. So it's going to look, all of ours look the same. They all start with mydoterra.com/ and then a name. So it's automatically going to enter in your first and last name. I do recommend you to change that, especially if you have a very common first and last name. There could be another Cindy Richard, okay? There could be another Margaret Clemens. So I do recommend that either you make it something, maybe Margaret Clemens 22, but something that makes you stand out, just in case you do have, or is out of, there's nearly 4 million people in doTERRA, so just in case there is another Margaret Clemens, you know, she's got that number in there, 22, so she, you know, it distinguishes in that way. So I do recommend you do that. So what you're going to want to do is, if you want to change it, you just enter in whatever you want to change it to right here. Okay, so if you're going to do Cindy Richard 1981, the year that Cindy was born, or Margaret Clemens 22, then you just go ahead and do that and click update. Okay, then you're going to want to upload a photo of you. Okay, so just click on My Photo, choose a file that you have in your computer, and I do recommend you making a nice little description of your website, okay? And then you go to direct leads, and you want them to probably email you, right? If somebody does click on your website that you send them, they're able to, any leads that you get, you're gonna get through your email. So that's how you do it. And now if you wanna kind of look at it, you just click on here, and we can look at mine. It's, you know, it's the same as yours. We all have the same. And this is what you will send people to. Now, what you want to make sure that you do tell people that if they are joining or going to look at the starter kits and join as a wholesale member, then you want to make sure that you mention right here to them that they're going to click on shop and save. If they click on shop, I'm sorry, join and save. If they click on shop, it's actually going to take them to your retail site, and they're going to be purchasing retail. All right, so I always try to make sure I tell people if I do send them this link that they need to click on join and save. So if you click on join and save, you just you're going to walk them through this. Click join doTERRA. They're going to enter in their language and their country and hit continue. Depending on if they want to join as a wholesale customer or a wellness advocate, the difference is very small. A wholesale customer is not allowed to sell or sell doTERRA, make an income. A wellness advocate is able to. So that's the main difference. So then you would just hit continue, and it's going to auto-populate your enroller ID and your sponsor ID already for you. So that's the benefit of sending somebody to your online store. Let me show you guys a little trick that I've learned. Sometimes I know someone I'm talking to wants to purchase a wholesale kit, and I don't want them to get distracted by anything else on my website right here. So let me show you guys a really cool tool. It's called bit.ly, okay, bit.ly.com, and I don't even think you really need to pay for this. I believe you don't need to. So what I like to do is I like to shorten my link and send them directly to where they are joining as a wholesale customer. Okay, we've already had that conversation. I know they don't want to sell the oils, so I'm going to send them directly to that. So I'm just going to kind of go through this myself the first time, and this is the website I actually want to send them to. See how it already has my enroller ID? It's going to auto-populate that. So just copy that, and then go over here to bit.ly. You're going to create a new short link. You paste that long link in there. It's super long, and it kind of comes up with the link right here. So this will be my link. I can send this to Cindy, who wants to enroll with the Diamond Kit, and she would just enter it or click on it, and it's going to take her right to where she needs to go. So that's just kind of my secret for shortening the link, or else it's going to be enormous. So you can also do that with your retail store. If you know somebody just wants to purchase one oil, then just take that link after you click on shop, go to your Bitly account, okay, and create a new link. You're going to paste that long link in there, and it's going to give me a short one. Okay, and so it's right here. I just copy it. If I wanted to, I can actually customize it. Okay, maybe I can say shop Jackie's store. You know, let's just say that. And I would just copy that. And this is if they wanted to buy retail. I usually don't let my friends buy retail, but you know, you do sometimes get a persistent person. And then there you go. So you can create 2 short links that you can use to send to people who do want to join. Another way to enroll your first person is actually through your back office. So you can log in, and all you would do is go up here to Wellness Advocate Services, and you would click on Register a New Wellness Advocate. Now, when you do this, you need to make sure that you do enter in your enroller ID, because it will not auto-populate it for you, okay, right here. So please make sure that you do that. The only time that it's going to auto-populate it for you is when you are sending them this link, okay, from your mydoterra.com online store. Okay, I'm going to stop and answer some questions because I know that I saw some people asking. Alrighty. No, the 5 milliliter cannot be purchased separately of the wild orange. So I think, yeah, Kim answered that. Yes, if it looks a little weird on my computer, go ahead and look it up on your actual page, yeah. Anybody else have any questions about that?
Jackie, I had a
Yeah.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
When you go to enroll someone, what is the benefit of doing it in your back office? When would you do that? Like with them sitting there?
Yes. Yeah, you would do that with you sitting there with them. Maybe you maybe you had a class, maybe you had a one-on-one, or maybe you just met somebody in the bathroom, you know, who wanted to enroll. You can do it through your phone, or you can, you know, it's where you're not really, but you need to make sure that wherever you're doing it at, you have a good connection to the internet. And that's why I always do recommend people to have a backup paper. And I'm just going to show you guys that. So that is kind of the best time to do it. I know a lot of people who do it in classes if they have under 5 people. But if they know that they're going to have over 5 people, then they make sure that they have the paper enrollment forms so that people aren't waiting in line, and so that, you know, you're not missing out on any of those enrollments because people need to get going. So.
And then can I add to that again?
Absolutely.
So then, like if they filled out the paper forms, then after that you'd like go home and you can enroll them in your back office.
Yes.
You would manually put all that in. Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I know a lot of people who prefer doing it that way because maybe they want to wait an extra day or two to think about where they want to make this, where they want to place this person on their team. So that kind of gives you an extra day or two to get that, you know, well, that membership overview. Maybe you want to also do a business overview and see if they are going to be somebody who builds a business on your team. And so that would really influence where you make that placement, where you place them. So I know a couple of people who like to wait a few days before they enter them in. But if you do it through your back office, it goes through right away. Okay, and so the last way that you that you can enroll your first person is this comes in a class in a box, and I'm going to go over these items with you. And this is the paper enrollment form. okay? And so this is the other way that you would actually enroll them. Now, if they are joining as a wholesale customer, you do not need their social security number or their tax ID number. All you need is their personal information. You need to know what kit they're buying, what items they want to put on their loyalty rewards program for the next month, if they want to do that. They need to sign it, and then they also need to have their credit card number and their verification code, which is very important for you when you're entering it in. I like to assure people that I'm going to take this home after the kids are in bed. I'm going to enter it into my doTERRA back office, and then I'll be shredding it. So I do make sure that I tell people that. So that is the other way that you can enroll somebody. There also is a doTERRA app that you can download, and you can enroll people through the app as well. So there's lots of different ways that you can get people and start sharing doTERRA. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys some of the things that come in the class in a box, really highlighting the most important things. This is the DVD. This is the Essential Oils 101 DVD. And I used this for probably my first 3 classes until I was really comfortable teaching my own Essential Oil 101 class in front of people. I used the DVD. It talks about all of the oils for you. It talks about the enrollment kits, like if you're uncomfortable closing, it will do it for you. It talks about how to apply the oils, how to use the oils. So it's really good at how it does it. And it, you would just play a segment. Say if we're talking about deep blue, you would just play the part on deep blue and then pass your deep blue around. So it's super simple to share oils. I love doing it the informal way, like this, sitting on my couch, where I feel like I'm sitting at home with you guys and just passing oils around and sharing it. That's honestly the best way to share doTERRA. So it comes with that, and it comes with invitations. So you get a package of invitations to give to people who you are inviting to people, or you are inviting. And then it comes with this is the TerraPad that you actually are going to teach from, or the DVD is going to teach from. And it's got, the most important parts to teach. What are essential oils? Why doTERRA? How to use them. It highlights some of our wonderful oils and blends that you can talk more about. And then the last part of it is, how do I establish a foundation for optimal health? It's got, almost kind of like the wellness pyramid, but it's more of where they kind of fill in the blank, which this is the most important part to teaching a class, or is knowing how you can help them with the oils. And then it's got how to purchase the oils. So it's got a comparison form as well, wholesale and retail, how much they're going to be saving. And then it's got the enrollment kits on it. So you can go over all of this in your class, and I just think this is great. It comes with 10 of the living magazines. Now, these are actually what I prefer to give each person at my class. I actually don't like handing out, I've learned my lesson, so I don't like handing out the product guide anymore. I used to really love handing it out, and I thought that it would really help people shop. But I love handing this out instead, because it actually shows people how to use the oils. And it's got different cooking ideas, packing tips, weight loss, exercise recovery, do it yourself with kids. Like, this is what people really, really love. And I just see them looking at it and reading it all during the class. So they love that. So I hand that out, and it comes with 10 of those. I showed you about the wild orange. It also comes with these little wild orange labels that you can put onto your bottle of wild orange. It tells them about the benefits of using it. And then on the back, it also tells them about how how you want them to use it, your essential oil tip. It comes with this Living doTERRA Naturally. And this is, you guys got this in your enrollment kit. But my favorite part is this Sharing doTERRA. So this helps you set up your classes. It's going to give you language of how to invite people. It's got a space for you to actually write down people that you want to invite to your class. It also has the Share program. If you don't know about the Share program, read up on that. It's pretty awesome. You can earn lots of free product for sharing doTERRA in your first 90 days. And then it also has a little spot for right here. If you do end up getting some sample vials, it's got these little things that you can use on your sample vials when you give them away. So I love the sharing doTERRA naturally because of all those goodies it has in it. And then it also comes with the building doTERRA. And so this is more about, you know, how to build your team, how to find your why, how to set goals. It's got our income earning statement on here in the ranks. So this is really good for building. All right. And then that's it. So I showed you everything. So that is Class in a Box. That's like I said, the 10 wild orange for all of this for $25. Like, this is all you guys need. This is awesome. So I love, love, love Class in a Box. And I want to make sure I shared it with you guys, especially those who are, you know, looking at enrolling their first person. I'm getting a lot of emails and lots of messages and phone calls about how to do that. So I thought it was time to actually share with you guys how to do that and have a, you know, a video to where we can look back to and you can share with your team as well. So that's it for what I had to share tonight. Is there anyone who has any questions about any of that? Oh, I forgot to scroll through the chat. I don't know when Edge is updating their stuff, Nicole. I peeked around in the Edge group today because I wanted to get prepared, and it didn't look like anyone had a really good answer for that. So, oh, Tamara said 10/14. Okay, so I missed that, so that's good. I love playing the DVD on the laptop to catch people's attention at markets. Yes, actually, I had a chiropractor ask me what he could use in his office, kind of in the waiting room, to play on a loop. So I love this. I mean, it goes over, especially the oil section where it talks about all the individual oils. I just think that's wonderful. So this is really, really awesome too. If you do have somebody, you know, who has a waiting room and maybe you're talking to them about introducing doTERRA into their practice or their, you know, their business, this is an awesome DVD to play on a loop. So I would recommend that one. Okay, so somebody's saying they do a password for their first name with a capital first letter and the last 4 digits of their phone number if they do the paper form. So, and then you can make sure that you tell them what that password was, and they can change it if they wanted to. So that's a good tip that Kim said. I like that. The living comes out several times a year. So the one in the Class in a Box that I purchased a few months ago was the summer one. So they'd have a fall one that recently just come out. So they are most likely updated with the new living magazines in the Class in a Box kits. Great. All right. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Any other questions that they want to ask? All right. Well, awesome. It was great to see some of your faces tonight, and I love getting on here with you guys because I just feel like you're sitting in my living room with me. So Susan says, you don't. Okay, no, you don't have to get the class on LRP, but you could throw it in with your LRP order because, like she said, you will save on shipping. So shipping is only $3.99 now, especially if you're cheap like me and go the cheap route. So throw this in with your LRP. Give this to somebody on your team if they say, hey, I'd like to, start doing what you're doing. This is a great gift for them. And, either you can even arrive at the class. Maybe you're teaching the first class for them. Arrive with the Class in a Box. It's a great tool to kind of hand down to people. I do. So a lot of people, will ask me if they need to get the entire Edge system in order for them to teach their first class. And I say, absolutely not. You need to teach your first class and then worry about, a system. So, if you have somebody interested in sharing doTERRA, my number one tip is to do their first class with them as soon as possible, because that pushes away the fears. It doesn't give them time for that anticipation to build up. They realize that it's super simple. Anyone can do this from their living room and have fun doing it. So it's a wonderful gift to give to new builders as well, or new sharers, just people who love sharing the oils. So that's it, everyone. I'm going to let you guys get going, watch your TV shows, or go to bed. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and we'll see you guys next Monday night. Bye, everyone.